LA's November back. Hi everyone, welcome. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. Alrighty, Bryan, take it away.
All right, take care. Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to have you participate this morning. There is an emergency need for substitute teachers all over the state of California. So you're in the right place. And we're talking about subbing preschool all the way up through adult, including career and technical education programs. But these programs that we're talking about are vital to the educational system. The lion's share, excuse me, of positions are going to be elementary, middle school, and high school. And on the bottom in red, can everyone hear me okay? On the bottom in red, you'll see that it says passage of SB 1397 has temporarily waived the requirements for the CBEST test. And that's going to end July 1st of 2024. So if you're looking at going into education in the K-12 arena, the California Basic Skills Test is a requirement, and that's something that you want to look at. Even if you're able to temporarily waive it, you want to also look at the long term, which is going to be that you want to take this because this is going to help you in your career if you want to stay in the K-12 arena. So the next thing that we're going to go over are some resources that we have. So one important resource that we have is Los Angeles Unified School District, which is probably the largest employer in the general area. And as you can see on the screen, the human resources for K through 12 substitute teachers, they're trying to make it as easy as possible. And it says the district is actively interviewing new substitute candidates at this time. Applications are valid for a period of 1 year. And we're just going to scroll down a little bit here, and you'll notice that the first thing they're saying is a bachelor's degree. Each district can make their requirements a little bit higher than what we call the minimum quals. However, most districts right now are waiving the bachelor's degree requirement and going with the 90 semester units and the CBEST or the CBEST waiver. So if you're interested and you meet that requirement and you have strong references for the last 3 years of work experience, a successful interview conducted by the Certificated Resources and Selections Unit, the fingerprints and health clearance, and you have authorization to work, I would say go ahead and apply and let them tell you what the process is going to be if you don't have a degree at this time. So now the other resources that we'll come back to it. The most important thing that you're going to hopefully walk away from today is this item right here. And this is the free service that the Los Angeles County Office of Education provides. And that service is for all individuals. If you'll notice, it says a certification selection provides a courtesy service for facilitating the application process of the initial emergency 30-day substitute permit for interested members of the public. However, it is important to note that the final decision of granting this permit lies solely with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, commonly known as CTC. Our role is to assist members of the public in applying for this document. So the credential is often called a document. And in the chat, we're going to go ahead and make sure everybody gets this link. And all through the presentation, because I know it's short, it's only an hour, my contact information will be at the end. Feel free to email me. I have no problem helping you walk through this process. But I'm going to show you real quickly the quick, down and dirty, um, fast track to get your 30-day sub permit. The County of Los Angeles also operates schools and special programs, and they hire substitute teachers as well. In the county office, you'll learn as you get into education in the County of Los Angeles, almost all of your paychecks are going to come from the county office, including Rio Hondo Community College, Cerritos, Mount Sac. And they're like the monitor or watchdog to make sure that people that are paid for conducting teaching assignments actually are appropriately qualified for the subjects that they teach, or including substituting. So if you look here, you can see that it's going to talk about the basic skills requirement. And they have a real easy form also that I'm going to show you this whole process. You're going to have to get live scanned. The Department of Justice and FBI, it takes a little bit of time for them to go through their records before they notify the County Office of Ed that you're cleared. They'll send you a letter. Then, right now, hopefully everyone can see this. It's the basic skills requirement evaluation worksheet. Now, that worksheet is really important that you read it carefully and you review your transcripts so that you can see where you can plug in the courses. And you want to make sure you read, if it doesn't ask that the course have to be upper division meaning university level, go ahead and utilize that class that you've taken at a community college because it'll meet that requirement as well. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat, and you'll be able to have that as a resource. And the address for the county office is on here as well. But from what I understand, it's difficult to just show up to the LA County Office of Education. You need to call and make an appointment. And we went over the LA Unified School District webpage. They're very willing as well to help people because they want you to work for them. And they're a very large employer. Now, the terminology is important. So right now, the terminology we're using is basically how do we get a permit? And a permit is different than a credential because a permit does exactly what it says. It permits you to perform a particular function. And that function that you're going to perform is to sub for a person that is out on either a leave or a day for medical illness, a personal necessity day. And you're going to hear the term 30-day. So 30-day sub or a 30-day permit is the terminology you're going to hear over and over again. So that's very important that you understand it's not a credential. A credential is different than, let's say, a permit where somebody is going to be there for a short period of time. So in the chat, I provided you with the link. And if you can just kind of give me a thumbs up if you've received that link. That link is going to be very important so that you understand that that's how you would get that document. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. So I know that that went through. And getting that permit, you don't need to go through a university or what we call an LEA, which is a licensed educational agency or local educational agency. You can utilize the link that I gave you, deal directly with LA County Office of Education. They will help you, guide you through the process. Of course, there are some fees that will be paid directly to CTC, which stands for the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So that's really the best thing that you're going to walk away from today if you want to be a substitute teacher is that web page that I gave you and that link. Now we're going to talk about individuals who have not earned a bachelor's degree or higher yet. So the emergency substitute teaching permit for prospective teachers authorizes a holder to serve as a day-to-day substitute teacher in any classroom. And it's important that you understand as a substitute teacher, you may be subbing one day in auto shop, another day you may be subbing in math, another day you may be teaching home economics, and another day you may be teaching physical education. Or in the elementary arena, it could be kindergarten one day, sixth grade another day, fourth grade another day, and then you may be doing pre-K. So the flexibility is really important. Excuse me. So we talk about authorization. For individuals who have not earned a bachelor's degree yet, who have at least 90 semester units, there is a possibility that you can earn this teaching permit on an emergency basis, and it's called for prospective teachers. So this authorizes you, as I mentioned, to sub on a day-to-day basis. The holder may serve as a substitute for no more than 30 days for any one teacher and may only serve for a maximum of 90 days during the school year. In a special education classroom, the holder may serve for no more than 20 days for any one teacher during the school year. The permit is valid for 1 year and may be renewed only once. And the hope there is that the individual will now have a bachelor's degree, and then you will apply for a regular substitute permit, which requires a bachelor's degree. So the official transcripts are
are
going to
going to
be
be
important.
important. So
So
I
I
apologize.
apologize.
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure
sure
what's
what's
going
going
on
on with my
screen
screen
here.
here.
You
Can you
hear
hear
okay?
okay?
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
for
for
the
the
second
second
one that
one that
we
we
have,
have,
we're
we're
going
going
to
to
look
look
at
at
the
the
regular one
regular one that requires a
bachelor's
bachelor's
degree
degree
and
and
emergency
emergency
substitute
substitute
teaching
teaching
authorization
authorization
for
for
individuals
individuals
that
that
have
have
a
a
degree
degree is
is
going
going
to
to
allow
allow
individuals
individuals
to
to
perform
perform
the
the
same
same
task,
task,
but
but
for a
for a
longer
longer
period
period of
of time.
time. So
So
for
for
these
these individuals,
individuals, the
the
chances
chances
of
of
getting
getting what we
a
call a long-term
long-term
assignment
assignment are
are
going
going
to
to
be
be
better.
better.
So for
So for
that,
that,
we'll
we'll
go
go
further
further
into the
into the
resources
resources
as
as
we
we
finish.
finish.
Then
Then
we
we
have
have
individuals
individuals
that
that
want
want
to
to
teach in
teach
the
the
career
career
technical
technical arena
arena.
that
That these
these
individuals
individuals
will
will
be
be
able
able
to
to
sub
sub in
in
more
more
of
of
the
the
shops,
shops,
the
the ROP
ROP
type
type
programs,
programs,
vocational
vocational
education.
education.
So
So
on the
on the
screen,
screen,
you'll
you'll
see
see
that
that
we
we
have
have
what's
what's
called
called
an
an
emergency
emergency
designated
designated
subjects
subjects
teaching
teaching
permit,
permit,
30
30 days.
days.
This
This
does
does
not
not
require
require
a
a
degree.
degree.
However,
However,
it
it
has
has
other
other specific
specific
requirements.
requirements. The
Individual
individual
must
must
have a
have
high
a
school
high school
diploma
diploma
or
or
higher.
higher. The
The
individual
individual
can
can meet
meet
that
that
requirement
requirement
through
through
three or
3 or
four
4
ways,
ways,
either a
either
high
a high
school
school diploma,
diploma,
GED,
GED,
or
or
a
a
foreign
foreign
equivalent.
equivalent.
Now,
Now,
in
in
red,
red,
you'll
you'll
see
see
that
that
I
I
have
have
here
here
that
that
the
the
individuals
individuals
have to
have to
verify
verify
employment.
employment.
So
So
I
I
gave an
gave an
example
example yesterday
yesterday
of
of
an individual that had been a teacher's aide or
teacher's
teacher's
assistant.
assistant. And
And
during
during
that
that
time,
time,
the
the
individual
individual
was
was
able
able
to
to
demonstrate
demonstrate
to the
to the
Commission
Commission
on
on
Teacher
Teacher
Credentialing
Credentialing
that
that
they
they
had
had
the
the
requisite
requisite
3 years
3 years
of
of
full-time
full-time
experience.
experience.
And
And that
that
3 years
3 years
of
of
full-time
full-time experience
experience
can
can
also
also
be
be
unpaid
unpaid volunteer.
volunteer. It can
It
be
can
a
be a
combination of
combination of
part-time,
part-time,
full-time
full-time
experience
in
in
addition
addition to
to
education.
education.
So you
So
can
you can
show
show
that,
that,
let's say
let's say
hypothetically,
hypothetically,
that
that
you
you
have
have
an
an AA
AA
degree or
degree or
60
60
semester
semester
units,
units.
and
And
then
then
you
you
may
may
also
also
have
have
2
2
years
years
of
of
full-time
full-time
employment
employment
in a
in a
particular
particular
area.
area.
What's
What's
unique
unique
about
about
this
this
credential
credential is
is
like
like
the
the
other
other
ones,
ones,
you
you can
sub up
sub
to
up to
30
30
days.
days.
However,
However,
you're
you're
going
going
to
to
be
be
limited
limited
to
to
a
a career
career
technical
technical
education
education
program.
program. Can be
Can
at
be at
night at
night
the
at the
adult
adult
school,
school
during the
during the
day at
day
the
at the
adult
adult
school,
school,
or
or
at the
at the
high
high
schools
schools
in
in
the
the
programs
programs
that
that
they
they
have
have
that
that
have
have
been
been
identified
identified
as
as
CTE
CTE
programs.
programs.
And
And
you
you
would
would
go
go
through
through
the
the
same
same
application
application
process,
process, but
but
realistically
realistically
speaking,
speaking,
it's
it's
going to
going to
probably
probably
be
be
very
very part-time.
part-time.
There's
There's
not a
not a
lot of
lot of
full-time
full-time
CTE
CTE
teachers.
teachers.
So
So additional
additional
information,
information,
it's
it's
going to
going to
be
be
on
on
an
an emergency
emergency
basis.
basis.
Again, it's
Again,
a
it's a
30-day
30-day
substitute
substitute
teaching
teaching
permit.
permit.
When
When
you
you
hear
hear
the
the
word
word emergency,
emergency,
that
that
generally
generally
means
means
that
that
they
they
couldn't
couldn't
get
get
anyone
anyone
that
that
was
was
qualified
qualified
with
with
a
a
regular
regular
single
single
subject
subject
or
or
multiple
multiple
subject
subject
teaching
teaching
credential,
credential,
where
where
to
to
be a
be a
sub,
sub, it's
it's
obvious
obvious
that
that
they're
they're
not going
not
to
going to
get
get
people.
people.
So
So
then
then
the
the
Board
Board
of
of
Education
Education
is
is
able
able
to
to let
let
the
the
state
state
know
know
that
that
we
we
have,
have,
quote,
quote, an emergency,
emergency,
end of
end of
quote,
quote,
and we
and we
need
need
day-to-day
day-to-day
substitute
substitute
teachers.
teachers.
So
So these
individuals,
individuals, it
it
says
says
preschool,
preschool,
kindergarten,
kindergarten,
in
in
grades
grades
1
1
through
through
12
12
inclusive,
inclusive,
and
and
then it
then
says, or in classes organized primarily for adults. The holder must serve, excuse me, may serve as a substitute for no more than 30 days for any one teacher during that school year, except in special education, where it's going to be only 20 days. So during that time, they're hoping that they can find somebody in special education that's qualified with a special education authorization. So the good news, so to speak, is that for that credential, there's no additional coursework that's going to be required. There's not the professional development requirement. There's just going to be the renewal, and that renewal is going to take place annually, and it's only going to be an additional amount of money that goes to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So let's go ahead and see if we have any questions in the chat before we move on any further. Let's see, do we have any questions? So a common question that comes up is, should you get a regular teaching credential and also maintain your substitute permit? Well, the answer would be no, because most, if not all, regular teaching permits or credentials are going to allow you to sub up to 30 days on your regular teaching credential or teaching permit. Another common question that comes up deals with the basic skills requirement. So a lot of people have questions and concerns about the CBEST test. So I'm going to put in the chat a link where you can actually go yourself and take a look. So if you can give me a thumbs up if that link went through in reference to the CBEST test. Okay, I see a couple. Thank you so much. Then now I want to talk a little bit about getting a job. whether it's a substitute teaching position or if it's actually a regular teaching assignment. So give me a thumbs up if you've heard of EdJoin before, just in the chat. So EdJoin is the most common place that school districts look for individuals to sub. So I'm going to give you just a real common. We're just going to say sub, and we're just hypothetically, we're going to go over here to, let's see here. Oh no.
Yeah, Brian, I don't think that you shared the sound. There's no sound on this video.
Oh no.
So go ahead. All you have to do is click on share screen. Yeah, click on your Zoom. Click on share, go down to share screen or new share. Click it again. And then click, do you see the bottom button? It says share audio as well. Share sound. It says option share sound. Yes. Okay, go back to the presentation. Looks like your audio is on. Yep. And then go back to the video. Yeah, there you go.
The shield. And I'm like, yep, that's us. Part of that was including art and music, just to give them a way to express themselves creatively, as well as things like sports and
Perfect.
school
Yeah, full screen.
dances, just different ways that they could be kids.
Perfect.
While I was in 6th grade, I saw one of the middle school shows, and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. That's something I want to do. Like, they're singing, they're dancing. So when I got to 6th grade, one of the first things I did was sign up for theater, and it's something I haven't stopped.
Oh, the students. They are lively, energetic, and they keep me young. I see them from day one, and seeing them grow every day until that last day is my most proudest moment. The blossom that they've had, the tremendous growth that they've had, and it's just that moment you're just like, they're ready. They're ready to go.
People know our students. They see our students out in the community and they go, that's the school with the good students that have the shield. And I'm like, yep, that's us.
I like the idea that there are so many different types of people here. It's not only like one big family. It's like having the whole world like here, like being able to experience different things.
Everybody's like different, you know, different cultures, different ethnicities, and I really do like that.
With us being so culturally diverse, I believe one of the reasons why parents pick us is because we are a reflection of the real world. We are Oakland.
I think one thing that I'm most proud about is the fact that we can take any kid, whether they're behind or they come through our system from middle school, we can take any student and get them into a 4-year college or university. That to me speaks wonders.
I definitely know that Ames has started off really strong for these 25 years, and we're going to continue doing so because we're diligent about what we do.
I say that Ames really wants you to succeed in life. That is, I think, their number one goal. They make sure that you're actually going to leave Ames with the ability to do well in life.
Can you hear me okay? I don't think the sound is on.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, super. So the reason I picked that is because whether it's that school, Ames, whatever school you're at, you got to like students. If you don't like students, then this is not going to be the right place for you, because substitute teaching is not babysitting. It's basically they're going to leave for you a lesson plan, hopefully. And if not, the office is going to have what they call emergency contingency plans for you as a substitute teacher. And whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school, or adult education, that day that the teacher is out is an instructional day. And that day is going to be required that you fulfill your obligation for that day, that period, that time that you're filling in for that teacher. You don't want to be overly serious with the students. However, what I found, and I subbed many times, many years, is that you can always loosen up. But as a sub, if you come in too loose and want to be the friends of all the students, it's going to be almost impossible to regain control of the class. So classroom management is going to be a very big part of substitute teaching. And you want to make sure that you get a good reputation when you're subbing with the principal and the principal secretary, because you'll learn as a substitute teacher that the principal secretary or the office manager or administrative assistant, as they're called, they're the ones that are going to decide whether you're going to get called to that school or not. And there's a report that they leave for the teacher that you subbed for to fill out. And that form is going to ask Did the substitute teacher follow, all of the lesson plans that the substitute teacher was required to do? Well, they're going to ask the students. The teacher that was out is going to say to the students, especially in the lower grades, how did you like Mr. Smith? How did you like Miss Bernal? Whatever the case might be, the person that's sub. And they're going to ask some input from those students, realizing, of course, that the students aren't necessarily going to like or say positive things about everybody, but there's going to be a vetting process that they go through so that they know who's somebody that's got a good reputation as a substitute teacher. And one of the main things is you always want to be early to your assignments. If you're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, you want to get there at 7:30, 7:45, check in with the office, get the substitute keys, get the folder that's going to tell you where to go, especially if you're at a big high school. Some of these high schools have 3,000 students. You're going to get a map, and it's a good idea for you to actually, if you get hired as a substitute teacher at the district office, ask them for all the addresses of all the schools that they may call you to and cold run it. Go see how far it is from where you live. Find out which schools you can get to within the fastest time, because the main thing here is they're going to call you sometimes at very short intervals as a substitute teacher. So the main thing here is you got to really like kids. And if you don't like kids, maybe adult education subbing is better for you, because the students are going to be able to tell right off the bat if you want to be there or if you're just somebody that's doing this because there's nothing else that you want to do. And the students will tell you, especially in the lower grades. I subbed in 5th grade, and the kids will tell you pretty much everything that's on their mind, which is okay. But you want to make sure that you're nurturing with the students, but you maintain the professional distance. So the other part about subbing is a term called long-term sub. Let me just see in the chat if anyone's heard of that term before. And a long-term sub is somebody who may actually sub for the entire year, or in the high schools, middle schools, an entire semester. Generally, that person that's a long-term sub is someone that was well thought of. The principal secretary, the administrative assistant, the principal, sometimes the assistant principal will actually call the district office. So we have enough time. I want to walk you through, and then we'll review again a little bit about EdJoin. And I apologize about the sound. Sorry about that, but I'm glad that we did get a little bit there. Is that when you go to sub, you want to not be the type of substitute teacher that just comes, goes to your room, does your assignment, and leaves. Even though that might be tempting, you want to go to the cafeteria where the other teachers are. If they're having a staff meeting and you have the time, don't worry about getting paid. Go to the meeting, introduce yourself, become really involved as much as possible. And those are the substitute teachers that get hired as regular teachers when there's an opening, if that's what you want. Those are the substitute teachers that get put on what we call the preferred sub list, which is a list that the principal secretary has, and they put those people with stars on them that they actually call them the superstars. These are the ones that when a teacher is going to be out on maternity leave, or the teacher has got an unforeseen medical emergency, these are the teachers that get requested. And the district office is the one who hires the substitute teachers and maintains their file. So all substitute teachers have a file like all other school employees. But subs, generally, there's somebody at the district office that monitors the substitute evaluations. And those evaluations, I hate to say it, but they're basically the bread and butter. And what that evaluation, again, I know I mentioned, is going to talk about is, did Miss Smith follow the lesson plan? Was Miss Smith on time to my class? Did Miss Smith have good control over the students? Were there issues? And as a sub, don't be afraid to refer a student to the dean or the assistant principal or to the counselor, because there's a lot of substitute teachers who believe, well, if I don't send anybody out of class, then they're going to call me back. Well, actually, it's quite the opposite. If there was a problem and the teacher comes the next day and has to deal with a problem, has to clean up your mess on that evaluation, they're going to put on there exactly what happened. And then under student behavior on the sub-evaluation, they're going to ask, were there outstanding students? Did you have a kid, especially in elementary school, they have these different assignments, Johnny's a door monitor, Sally sharpens the pencils, they have all these other things. If the kids were helpful, put that on there. If there was a student or students that gave you problems, write it on the evaluation, because I can guarantee you the kids will throw you under the bus. They will tell the regular teacher, yeah, Miss Smith was there, and Johnny did this and Johnny did that, and she didn't do anything. So that's a little bit about that as far as the nuts and bolts. What I wanted to do is dig a little bit, since we have time, into EdJoin. And EdJoin is really an outstanding platform. So one of the first things in EdJoin I want to make sure you guys see is the fact that in EdJoin, everybody has it in the link that I gave you. You can see that you want to create a profile. You want to utilize the mechanism of EdJoin. And in EdJoin, you can see that when you go to the link, and I'm going to share my screen in a minute, you can actually create an account for free. And in that account, you're going to be able to upload documents, letters of reference. You want to upload your transcripts. If you have taken the CBEST, you go
Your voice is mute.
muted. It says your microphone is disabled. What do I do? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, great. Sorry about that. I don't know, the technology is not cooperating today. So what I started to say is that when you become a sub, if they offer you any type of professional development as a substitute teacher, take advantage of it. Get as many certificates as you can. Good example would be if they have one on classroom management. LA Unified is very big on trainings for their substitute teachers. Get as many of that as you can. And on the EdJoin, when you develop your portfolio on EdJoin, you're going to see where it says log in, register. You're going to click that, and you're going to go ahead and click where it says register, and you're going to go ahead and put as much information as you can in that area. So on EdJoin, that would be an example. And I see what happens as soon as I go to share my screen with you. I apologize, and it mutes it. I'm not sure why. So when you create that, you want to upload as much documentation as you can. Same thing with LA Unified. And as far as being a sub, I apologize if you lost some of the information, so I'll restate it for you. Let's say that you go work at Glendale Unified School District, and you get hired as a substitute teacher. When you go to work, the first thing you want to do is the term dress for success. Nobody expects you to wear a suit. Nobody expects you to overly do it, but you want to make sure that your presence is neat, because one of the things that's going to happen is that the administration of the school, they're going to talk to the district office, and they're going to say, you know what? I really like Sarah because Sarah, number one, got along with the students. Number two, when the teacher returned, Sarah's report showed that she followed all of the lesson plans that the teacher left. And if it's at the high school or middle school, what's going to be really big is how many times Sarah was able to get the students to interact with the class. Did they have interactions going on in the class? Were they, answering questions? Were they doing their work? The biggie as we get wrapping up today that I want you to have is what I call a takeaway is attendance. No matter what subject, whether it's adults, whether it's career tech ed subbing, or whether it's elementary, the biggie for the school is, did you take attendance correctly? Because when you work in the educational system, you're going to learn about the three letters, ADA. And ADA, what that says is average daily attendance. Is everybody, can you give me a thumbs up if you're able to hear? Is everybody able to hear okay? Okay, Tracy gave me a thumbs up. So is there anyone that can put in the chat box what ADA stands for? Let's see here. Okay, anybody? Very good. So that was, I believe, Michael. So average daily attendance is literally how the school is funded. So if a student is absent, there is no such thing as an excused absence anymore, with some exceptions, religious holidays. There's some exceptions. But most of the time, if the student is absent, the school does not get any money. So it's absolutely important that the teacher that is subbing take accurate attendance. And sometimes what happens is it's nobody's fault, but you get so bombarded with this student's got to go to an ASB function. This kid's got to leave 5 minutes early to go to a doctor's appointment. So you want to be very organized. And as you start subbing, you're going to have what I call a toolbox, so that if they call you to sub for English, and God forbid you didn't have the lesson plan left by the teacher, you'll have your own little bag of tricks that you have so that you can perform those functions, and you want to be on that preferred sub list. So again, when you get called to school to sub, I'm not sure if you heard it earlier, you want to get there as early as possible and get a lay of the land so that you know where the restrooms are, so that you know what the bell schedule is. Because the students will tell you things that are not correct. They'll tell you, oh, today we get out early. Well, if the office didn't tell you they got out early, they probably didn't get out early. And they want to continuously test substitute teachers. So you want to make sure that you get all your ducks lined up and you know what the rules and regulations are. As far as getting that permit, give me a thumbs up in the chat if everyone got the link to LA County Office of Ed for the 30-day sub permit. Did everybody get that? Because that's really probably your easiest way to get that permit. The other function that the county office has is all credentials have to be on file with the county superintendent, which is the county office of ed, and they won't pay you if there are problems with your credential or your permit to sub. So you want to make sure that your timelines are taken care of and that you actually understand what your credential deadlines are, because every credential, especially a sub permit, is going to have the date that you have to renew it. And most of these can be done online through the renewal process. So live scan. I know we have a couple questions about live scan. Yes, if you get live scanned for the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, unfortunately, at the beginning, it can be a costly process. Some school districts are going to also require you to, again, go get live printed, live scanned for their particular district. And the costs vary. It's usually as low as $30 and as high as $100. And the reason for that is because some districts require both the FBI and the DOJ, which is Department of Justice, prints. And that's important. Okay, I see somebody said they didn't get the link. I will put the link in the chat. I apologize. Don't know why you didn't get that. I'll do that right now. Then the other thing somebody asked about a medical. That was an excellent question. Okay. Most districts are going to require you to get what we call a TB, tuberculosis, either a chest x-ray or a skin test. But there are some districts that actually require a complete physical exam to be a substitute teacher. And that physical exam is usually done by your doctor, but some school districts like San Bernardino Unified, I'll give you this example, they usually require all employees go through a complete physical at their own expense. And that's something that you do through your doctor. Now, for those of you that are really interested in subbing as soon as possible, I would fill out that 30-day sub permit that was in the chat. And what I would do is I would start working on that. And if they send it back to you, don't get discouraged, because oftentimes the box wasn't checked off. There was some error that happened and the county office maybe missed it. It got sent to Sacramento. Then Sacramento sends it to the county office. Then the county office contacts you. Make sure that you follow through with whatever it is that they ask you to do. As far as the CBEST test is probably going to be required again July 1st. So it will end sunset, we call it June 30th, as far as the waivers. The CBAS test is not required for the CTE substitute permit. So I'll talk a little bit about that. That does not require a degree. That requires, as I mentioned earlier, 3 years of full-time verifiable experience. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that someone is a server at Norm's restaurant and works the equivalent of 40 hours a week for 3 years and has a high school diploma or equivalent. Yes, they probably would qualify for a substitute CTE credential, career technical education credential, where they could sub on a day-to-day basis for no more than 30 days in the area of career technical education. It wouldn't have to be restaurant, it could be any area. So they might have them sub one day in the wood shop. They might have them sub another day in the hospitality arena, or another day they might be in childcare area. So every area has their own particular nuance. And if you get known, then they're going to have you in that area oftentimes. So a good example, people ask about jobs. It depends upon where you live. I don't want you to think I'm pumping up LA Unified over and over again, but they're the largest employer in the area for substitute teachers. And if you get in with LA Unified, I have friends that sub every single day. I also have friends that sub for LA County Office of Education in the juvenile court schools. It's a tougher assignment, but they like it and they get called every single day. And they've been doing it for several years. Now, some substitute teachers, especially LA Unified, get medical, dental, vision, retirement, just like a regular teacher, because they've been subbing for so many years that they're on what they call the track and they're a permanent substitute teacher. And we have about 5 minutes. So I want to talk a little bit about that. In the secondary schools, high school, middle school, about 10 years ago, a lot of principals got together, and what they did is they found substitute teachers that wanted to work every single day, that were very good at their school. And they were able to create what they call permanent substitute assignments. So we're going to say that Mike is a great sub, has good classroom management, follows the lesson plan that's left for him. When the principal comes by the classroom, on the board, it's clearly marked his name, it's clearly marked the lesson for the day. There's a little box on there that talks about his expectations of student outcomes for that day, including discipline. So those principals, out of their funds that they had, bought 1 or 2 substitute teachers for the entire school year. So those subs report to that school every single day for the 181 school days. And they basically get all the benefits, medical, dental, vision, retirement, the whole gamut. And they are assigned to that school every day, and they find something for them to do. I've seen things happen where they didn't need them to cover class, so they had them help out in the dean's office. They had them help out in the counseling office. They had them do a variety of tasks. Those are individuals that definitely were on that preferred list with the administration. So I'm going to put it one more time as a question. I don't see any chat here. So everyone got the LACO one. Now, as far as substituting at the community college, which no one has really put anything in there, in the non-credit classes, I'll give you an example. North Orange County Community College District, they actually have substitutes. And they've been looking for the last year for people who can sub in a variety of their non-credit areas, from ESL to older adult programs and other areas. They're one of the few community colleges that I've heard of that had substitutes for those programs. But those are other options, because I know that LA Community College District, which is the largest community college district, I think, in the world, they have over 9 campuses. They have a huge non-credit program, and they do have substitute teachers. And a lot of them, I keep mentioning ESL because all 9 of the campuses have a very large ESL program, and I know they need subs continuously. And people ask me, well, how do you get in? Well, the best way to get in at a non-credit type program as a sub is get to know the dean in charge or the director in charge of that program and let them know your availability. And that's going to be the same thing with the K-12 arena. Whether it's elementary, preschool, high school, middle school, you want to make sure that you're the squeaky wheel. You want to make sure that that principal and that assistant principal and that principal secretary knows it. There's 3 things. You're ready, willing, and able to sub. Now, a lot of times people say, well, I don't feel comfortable subbing teaching algebra, or I don't feel comfortable subbing and teaching in a higher biological science area. We're in a situation now, especially in LA Unified School District, where we don't have the flexibility. They need subs who are going to basically be able to handle all areas, okay? All areas. Those areas are going to be what's ever necessary. And those necessary areas are going to honest and truly have to be whatever is needed in the schools. It can't be specifically where you want to sub. Now, as you get known, maybe at a big high school, a big middle school, if you only want to teach biological sciences, environmental sciences, and that department chair at that school has you on their preferred list, then you're going to be in really, really good shape. So I apologize that we had a little bit of technical issues, but I think everyone has my contact email. You want to just give me a thumbs up if you have it. I have no problem with you emailing me. Just make sure you give me a couple days to get back to you. And I work real closely with LA County Office of Education. So I have a lot of contacts there. That's how I got that link that I shared with you. And my goal is to provide as much information as I can for individuals that want to teach, that want to get into this field. It's a rewarding field. Yes, there are challenges. That video that you saw, again, I apologize you didn't get to hear all of the video, but you did get some of it, was really a rich environment to share with you. And I think everyone saw how happy those kids were. Yeah, I see a couple thumbs up. Great. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, don't feel badly about reaching out to me. I'm here to help you. I am a mentor for the CPTP program at Rio Hondo. And this is my passion as well, is helping get people into education. So have a great day. I'm still here if anyone has anything in the chat they wanted to ask.